I'm going to give the line to Jeff Duncan. He was talking about the booing going on in the crowd, which we have confirmation Danny was not one of the people booing, for whatever that's worth. But he said, the holiday spirit only lasts so long when you're watching the Saints lose for the fourth time in the last 5 home games. It's hard to give thanks when you're paying NFL prices and getting an XFL product. And unfortunately, the offense feels like an XFL product right now. I mean, that was a absolutely brutal game, Jake. And not that it was wholly unexpected, right? For the second week in a row, I found myself just depressingly apathetic when it came to what I was hoping for this game because the offense is an XFL offense. And then it didn't help when I'm watching the beginning of the game, and there's in my opinion, what felt like a massive red flag where the announcers are talking about their sit down with Sean Payton, and he was saying, look, in the short week, we're just going to try to run our like bread and butter, like what we know we can do. And to me, I was like, right? Because like that speaks to a plan that's going to be kind of generic, kind of narrow in scope. And I get why that is the plan. Like your hand's kind of forced at this point, but when you combine that basic attack with a complete lack of personnel, like anywhere on the offensive side of the ball, like you get what you saw last night. And what you saw, Jake, and you can speak this better than I can, is just a team that is just completely dead offensively.
Yeah, and it's not crazy when you have a Thursday night game to scale it back.
That's a good, yeah.
That's not crazy. You barely practice it, or if you even really practice at all, it's more like a walkthrough with helmets. But when you have the players the Saints have available right now, you've got to be more creative. You have to try to do some extra. Just because like your bread and butter, your base plays, well, you don't have the talent to be able to go out there and be successful against this type of defense with base plays. No. That's just not who you are. You're down at quarterback. You're down at running back. You're certainly down at receiver. You're down at tight end. You're down at offensive line.
Yeah.
You're down on every level, every position on the offense. And, I mean, the defense has its injuries too, but the offense was the story last night. It was awful. I mean, Tony Jones Jr. is somebody that in the preseason looked like he had some juice to him. And look, I'm not saying his career is over by any means, but like you saw what happens when you face a good defense and you're the guy. Like it's a completely different game than when you're in the preseason, right? And Ty Montgomery at 6 for 14, and it's just you got nothing going on the ground. 25 carries, 44 yards, 1.8 yards a carry.
I always wonder what the general public thinks watching. Like if they turn on like Saints national television, they turn on that game. Are they when they see these offensive names? Are they just like who?
Oh yeah,
like who? Huh?
Like Lil Jordan Humphrey?
Huh? Lil Jordan? Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's.
Tony Jones Jr. is not going to be like a household name. Ty Montgomery, I don't know. He played for the Packers.
That's everybody's going to be like, oh, Ty Montgomery. Yeah, he was up in Green Bay for a little bit. Like,
and your 4 leading receivers: Lil Jordan Humphrey, Traquan Smith, Ty Montgomery, Marquez Callaway. Ugh. Oh, Nick Vannett. If you want to keep going down the line.
Ugh. And look, and so the conversation with the offense being this bad. Although, like Jake said, it's just kind of the hand you've been dealt. But with the offense being this bad, it does feel clearly now like the Trevor Siemian, I don't want to call it an experiment. It seems like you have to try something other than Siemian. And again, it's not that, in my opinion, it's really about Siemian. It's not like it's about like Taysom coming in and it's going to get better, because I don't think it will get better, right? It's just about, it's the old FDR quote. Just try something. Yeah. And unfortunately now you have given this a good sample size with Siemian. This is not reactionary, but you have seen the offense get worse as teams have developed more tape on him. And again, it's not even like a huge discredit to Siemian, even though his numbers are a bit weird. Like, don't just look at the numbers, because the vast majority is coming garbage time. Like every single week, Saints get down huge, teams start playing chill and letting the Saints use up time, and that's when Siemian start stacking a lot of these numbers. And it's rough for Siemian. Like, he didn't get the time over the summer with Deontay Harris and all these other guys like Jameis did. He put in the work, went all over the country, all this sort of stuff. And so, again, I don't think Taysom makes the offense drastically better, but if he's healthy, it's the for God's sake, try something. Like, this can't continue.
Trevor Siemian's skill set does not allow him to go out there with Tony Jones Jr. and Ty Montgomery and some of these receivers. That's just not what it is. If you had Alvin Kamara, if you had Michael Thomas, if you had even Troutman, if you had all of your weapons, then Trevor Siemian has shown like he can be an okay NFL quarterback. Agreed. He's done it before. He's done it elsewhere, but not with these guys. Not with these Jimmies and Joes. And Taysom does give you at least something different. He gives you the ability to do something like you're talking about, T. So the curious case of Taysom Hill, time and time again, the extensions, I know, but right? Then why is he active? Like, why is he taking a spot?
Who is it? Who was it here recently that was in a similar boat and he wasn't healthy enough to start quarterback, and then he ended up coming in the game? Oh man, it's one of the young cats. I'm blanking right now. This just happened recently where Tua. Remember that random game a couple weeks ago where Tua wasn't healthy enough to start, but then
he came in,
gets hurt, and then he gets in, and then he stays in. So maybe it's we're trying to not play him unless we have to situation, and they just don't trust Ian Book at all. That's the only way I can explain it.
But Ian Book, even him, like, he's got escapability. Like, he's kind of been known for being that guy that can make the rush miss and throw on the run. And yeah, he's probably got a little bit of something in him that Sean Payton's like, man, I don't want that rookie out there. He might throw 3 picks. Okay, we'll throw 3 picks. Because right now what you're doing is just elementary, and it's just not working.
Yeah, and I think that I think that this season and these last few games is really making me appreciate 2 people. Because, Jake, you made such a good point about with a complete team, while Simeon's limited, he could do enough. But he is not somebody who has the ability to drag a roster up kind of on his own back, right? Yeah. Drew Brees has done that for years. And you're seeing, and it's not to say that the Saints have had really good rosters in recent years, but I remember very bad Saints rosters, especially offensively. Of course, there's that box score that I think about far more often than I should, where it was like Austin Carr, Dan Arnold, 2 other just completely random generic white guy names in terms of the guys that scored touchdowns. There's 4 different guys caught touchdowns. All 4 names that are almost completely irrelevant to the NFL, although Dan Arnold's done nice for himself.
I'm about to say he got traded for a first
round. Dan's actually gone on and had a fantastic career. But the point is, Brees could drag. Was that
Lewis? Maybe.
I think
Coleman.
Something like that, basic. Dude. But the point is, I watched Saints years where even sometimes Brees was dragging bad rosters to 7 and 9. Keith Kirkwood is one of them. Thank you. Yes, Keith Kirkwood is in that.
Trying to get there.
But even some of those 7 and 9 years were actually incredible jobs by Brees, bringing what felt like a 3-13 defense and a 3-13 offense to way more wins they should have expected. So obviously the absence of Brees, here we are, year 1 AD, our celebration of being able to get through the AD, the after Drew era may have been a bit premature. Injuries kind of derailed this whole thing, but you definitely miss what Brees could do, because Brees would actually still have success with these offensive weapons. I do actually believe that, which is wild to say, but that's why he's a Hall of Famer and top 5, top 10 guy all time. I also makes me appreciate Jameis Winston, man. Winston was having success. I get that I think if you just looked at the numbers that him and Simeon might be similar enough where you're like, oh, well, that's not that big of a difference. But situationally, Jameis was far better. Again, the majority of Simeon's numbers coming in garbage time. Jameis not only had the rocket arm and was a deep threat that showed up a few times this year, Jake, but remember he had crazy good stats on 3rd down and in the red zone. And then the huge element you're missing, how many times on scoring drives this year did Jameis Winston get a first down with his legs? Right? You just don't have that all anymore. So I'm missing Brees. I'm missing Jameis. I don't blame the defense at all. I was thinking about it today. It's easy for me, who didn't play in the NFL, to sit here and see how they
didn't give up a ton of yards.
No. But it's you can't be mad at them because, look, if I can sit here and see how broken the Saints offense feels with their lack of talent, what about the guys whose professional living is provided by understanding and defeating offenses? They know how bad their offense is better than anyone. Jake, maybe you could take us into a locker room or situation, because I got to imagine, they're trying to put on a brave face, but in the back of their head, they're like, man, our offense is garbage. And it's just hard to keep that motivation.
It is, and it can stay around for a while. The year that we've talked about a lot on this show, when we were first in offense, first in defense in San Diego, and last in special teams, you had some vets after a while. They were letting you know, you're blocking a punt or you're covering a kick. What are you doing? Or you're kicking a field goal. What are y'all doing? This is basic stuff. You're only here to do this. It's the only reason why you're on this team is to cover a kick or to whatever it might be, right? And you had some guy. we were playing in Seattle one year, and Phillip in the offense, I mean, just moving and grooving, trying to get us in a comeback. We let like 2 kick returns and like a block punt, I think, for a touchdown. And after this like furious comeback just to take the lead, next kickoff, I think it was Percy Harvin. I could be wrong.
What?
No, it was Leon Washington. That's who it was. Leon Washington takes the next kick to the house, and Randy McMichael, you can see him on the sideline, throws his towel up and just falls down on the ground. Just falls.
I mean, those are not high percentage plays.
No.
That's insane.
So it got hostile. It's like, what are we doing? Every single, like, Antonio Gates is coming in the special teams room like, hey, y'all need to get your together, like, right now. Like, I don't know what's going on, but we are too good not to make the postseason, and we didn't turn it around. Damn, dude. So, okay, so that's a perfect setup for the question that I want to go into break with, Jake. I will explore and get back. Is the Saints season officially dead? We'll answer the question next on Off the Bench. Going into break, we asked a question, Jake, about the New Orleans Saints. It's quite a simple one, if it is one that carries a lot of weight with it. And that question posed to the room here, boys. Anybody wants to get involved that has a take on it can. Is the Saints season officially dead? You've now lost 4 in a row, which is your longest losing streak. Is it 4 in a row or is it 3 in a row? 4. It's 4 in a row. Yeah. Which is your longest losing streak in the last 6 years. Mm-hmm. I want to say you've lost 4 or 5 in the Dome. In terms of trends, the offense gets worse and dwindles every single week. The defense remains good, but it can't do it. Is the Saints season officially dead? I will give them 1 more week. And the only reason I'll give them 1 more week is because Sean Payton has to realize that there has to be some changes. And you have to do something different, like we talked about last week. So for me, they've got to try to get Taysom in there, or they have to try to get Ian Book at something different, get Kamara healthy, get him on the field. They've got to do something. Now, they've got 1 more week.
Yeah.
They've got a what I consider a rival, primetime game against the Cowboys.
That's a Thursday game as well? Am I crazy?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's a Thursday game, yeah.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah.
Full week, Thursday to Thursday. That's odd.
So you'll have that. That's on December the 2nd. Then you've got then you got the Jets. Jets. Jets are awful.
Yeah.
Buccaneers, that's a tough one. On the road, even though you've beaten them already, that is a tough one. But you also have the Dolphins, the Panthers, and the Falcons. Okay? So you don't exactly have the most difficult schedule outside of at the Buccaneers. It can be done. It's going to be a long shot. This team looks like it is done, but I'll give them 1 more week because of Sean Payton.
Unfortunately, I hate the fact that you can't even catch overly cocky Dallas. I hate that you're getting 2 lost Dallas. Which you could say, but T-Bob, that just means they're in bad form, right? And maybe it snowballs against them. Maybe, but to me, unfortunately, the Saints kind of feel like a perfect get-right game for Dallas right now. In terms of Dallas's defense needing a little confidence. Well, who can give you more confidence than going against Trevor Siemian and Tony Jones Jr.? Hopefully Taysom Hill by next Sunday, depending on health and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't know, Jake. See, when you read off those games, from a general NFL standpoint, you're right about the level of challenge of those teams. But what I also see is a team in Carolina that you got dominated by round 1. You know, a Falcons team that you lost to at home in the Dome. And that was when you were better, when you were closer to
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about the Buccaneers. You beat the Buccaneers, and you don't feel great about that game.
And you beat the Packers, right? So you do have really good wins. I guess, and it's hard to say, and it's hard to beat teams twice and all that, and divisional games can go either way, but it's just nothing feels, maybe save for the Jets game, nothing feels like the Saints will win this game on that schedule. And it's for that reason combined, obviously, the injuries being the root of all evil and all of this. And just the offense, man, I do think that, unfortunately, I will watch the rest of the season. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm checking out, but it does feel like the playoff hopes in me personally died last night. And maybe I'm soft here, and maybe they come back and they prove me wrong, and nothing would make me happier. But the only way that I could still keep the faith, even if they were playing in this current form, Jake, I keep going back to it, and it'll bug me all year. But it's just I keep thinking about the Giants and the Falcons games. Two teams that are not good, and especially not offensively. That's why I really get disappointed in those games, right? Like the Saints defense has no excuse for allowing Daniel Jones and Matt Ryan to do what they did to you, and now you're paying the price for it. Because instead of, what are you 5-6 now? I believe, right? That's right. So what are we looking at, 7-4? Even if you look this terrible, if you had managed to not screw up those games. So that could have kept the hope alive. Unfortunately, it stands now. I think they're done. Danny, what about you? Where's your head?
Hey,
Saints season dead.
Yeah, after last night, I think the season's over.
Oh man,
I know.
The
if
offense
Danny says it's over, it's dead.
That's like what do they say? Like on a ship, it's like when the rats start fleeing the ship. That's when it's like time to go. Or the canary in the coal mine alerting the miners are like, we got to get out of here. Like this is a bad sign.
This is a bad sign.
This is a bad sign, Danny. So why do you think they're dead?
The offense just looks completely dead. It's like lifeless. Like you couldn't gain more than 5 yards. Like it seemed like the whole night. But I mean, yeah, that's simply why if you can't score points and move the ball on offense, and you can't extend drives, and you 3-and-outs every drive, then you're not going to win games, and that's what it looks like right now.
I mean, and the defense kept it close early on. They came up with the turnovers. Quan Alexander's pick was awesome. Cam Jordan forcing it. Bradley Roby getting the pick. It was nice. They set you up. The offense is just like an anemic little child, though, right now. They just don't have the energy. It's not
and the old line just it got bullied every single play. And I know that's a big part of injuries, but the offensive line just, you can't move the ball. You're gonna,
well, and that's a good point too. I mean, before the O-line caught the injury bug, that was the last. That was kind of the last thing you had going for you offensively, where at least you still had this really solid O-line that you'd invested a ton of draft picks in, and that was allowing you some success. But that's even.
I mean, when's the last time football here in Louisiana has been
this bad?
down?
It's we should actually, you know what? Let's get out your felt tip pen.
Okay.
And let's see if we can come up with anything here. And I'm sure chat. If y'all are crazy. Y'all always know things.
I'm sure 1999, the last time LSU was really, really bad.
I'm
sure the Saints were bad too. So
maybe it's that easy.
I mean, let's be honest.
The Saints season did start out really promising.
It was great.
It looked but now it just looks.
Well, but and again, that's why this is not. I'm not long-term down, right? I still love the structure in place. It's just injuries. There's just really no other way about it. I mean, the vast majority of this is caused by injuries. And you can say, oh, well, they still don't have a settled court. Like Ivy Aber's talking about how Winston is not a good quarterback. And look, while I personally think that Winston could be very successful over time with Sean Payton, I'm not saying that he's the only guy you care about. Hell no. Go try to get Russ this offseason. Go try to get Aaron Rodgers. Do whatever you can. But long
draft
term,
a quarterback in the first round.
By
God, I don't care. I don't care.
So you agree with just overreaching for a quarterback if you're not in love
Mel
with
Kiper and
no, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about if Sean Payton is not in love with a quarterback, you want him to just draft one in the first round anyway? That's what I'm talking about.
Sean Payton will be in love with a quarterback. He's a quarterback guy. Don't listen to that. Do your due diligence. Go to the Senior Bowl. Go to all these things with a mind that I'm going to take a quarterback in the first round.